Hey guys, happy day 5 of trying to be a full-time wholesaler, which means I've been going to the bins every single day of the week. So day 5 will be the last day. So I'm going to quickly go over some thoughts and then we'll get into bins content. So this has been a hard week. I was supposed to finish on Monday, which was yesterday, but I couldn't because I had to pick my sister up from the airport and she gave me the wrong time originally. She originally told me I needed to get her in the morning, but I actually needed to get her in the middle of the afternoon. So I started last Tuesday and we're ending this Tuesday and it's the 5th day. You couldn't see my thumb. 5th day. Some feelings, thoughts. I can't be a full-time wholesaler. It's too hard. Maybe if I found better inventory, not even better, just enough. I can't find enough inventory. Originally, I was thinking if I can find, say, 100 pieces a day, sell 100 pieces a day at a $1 profit to you guys for wholesale, and then get money anywhere from $50 to $100 from Once Upon a Child, plus have a few sales a day on Poshmark, that would likely be over $200 profit a day, making money that way, which would be fantastic. But the few things I learned, I know I don't live in the best bins area. I find a lot of bread and butter stuff, a few special pieces, and I always felt like I was getting a lot of stuff, and I am. Bringing home like 60 pieces from one bins trip is a lot of stuff, but as I was shopping for other people, I was throwing a lot of stuff back, which is a good way to think. Like, can I sell this piece to someone where their cost of goods will be $4 per piece? Is it worth it for them? And I was like, no. So I threw it back. And I don't shop that way for myself. I'm like, oh, this is $12. This is $18. And I just throw everything in my cart. That is a tip if you need to cut down. You're like, well, would I pay $4 for this piece? No, then I should throw it back. Now, I still pick up stuff that is not worth that. Like, it's only worth paying bins pricing, but it is definitely a good way to get on top of your sourcing if you maybe have a large death pile and you like sourcing, especially from the bins. So, unfortunately, I don't think any day I brought home 100 pieces, which was my goal in my head. Some days I spent like 3.5 hours. Saturday I spent like 6 hours at the bins. I think Saturday maybe, I don't even know if I got the most stuff on Saturday. I got on Saturday 15, so the last video, day 4, I only found 15 pieces for my mature box, which is what I'm packing up right now. So right now I'm just going to the bins, trying to, finish my challenge and get a last few pieces to finish packing up these boxes. So I'm thinking, maybe this wholesale is something I can have like 2 clients a month or something where I send a box out to them, 1 box a month. But I was originally hoping to be doing like 6 boxes a week, and I don't find enough stuff for that. And I'm not making enough money to do that, because I'm not finding enough stuff. And like $1 profit per piece is, I don't want to say it's not a good profit. It's just a lot of work for small profits. I'd rather go back to listing on Poshmark. I miss listing. Maybe if you are stuck, like you can't list, try this wholesale challenge. Try going to the bins every single day for a week and wholesaling stuff. I guarantee you, I shouldn't say guarantee you, but you'll want to go back to listing. I just want to sit on the couch and list today, but I want to finish this challenge, and today is the best day for me to go to the bins this week. So we're headed to Once Upon a Child. I just tried to call them to make sure they were buying. Oh, that's the other thing. Part of the problem with this challenge is 2 of the days this week, Once Upon a Child wasn't buying. And that was part of the plan to make my profit. I needed that like $50 to $100 a day. And for 2 days, I couldn't get that. So Friday, the first day I didn't go. Thrifting was because they weren't open. And Thursday, I did go thrifting, but I couldn't take them a bin of stuff. So I called them. They didn't answer today. So fingers crossed they are buying, because I have a bunch of kids' clothes to sell them now. I'm not going to stop that. I've been doing that for years and I love it, but it's just going to be on a smaller scale. So I will see you guys at the bins. Day 5 at the outlet. We have arrived at the bins for day 5, last day of this Wholesale Goodwill challenge. Now, I do believe this day was pretty terrible, but let's just go through the bins, see what I can find. So right when I walk in, I like to check the first few front bins. I don't know why, I just automatically get distracted by all the stuff right in front. That North Face was too dirty to pick up. If it was clean or even a little bit dirty, I would have picked it up to sell myself, but I think it was just too dirty. I recognized that symbol as Mountain Hardware. It is an outdoor brand that I believe is sold at like REI, kind of mid-tier. I did throw it in my cart, but I think I ended up throwing it back at the end of the night. Then I found this corset to take to buy, sell, trade because they have always purchased corsets from me. However, I did take this to 3 stores this past weekend and they all passed on it. If you're unfamiliar with what I mean by buy, sell, trade, I take items from the bins to Crossroads and Buffalo Exchange in the city of Chicago. This piece I pulled out because I recognize some crochet granny square and that's pretty trendy right now. It was just a Target piece, so I did throw it in my cart thinking maybe I'll take it to buy, sell, trade because I do like crocheted pieces, but I ended up throwing it back and I'm glad I did because they told me they are being picky on pieces right now. If you're curious what selling to Buffalo Exchange and Crossroads is like, I do have some Crossroads selling vlogs on my channel, and I also am planning to post one. It should be my next video after this, the Friday video. Right now, I'm just kind of skimming the top of the bins for anything that catches my eye, and also kids' clothes. This piece right here is a girls' athletic shirt, so I did grab this for Once Upon a Child. Again, sorry if you're not new to the channel, but if you are, my criteria for kids pieces for Once Upon a Child is they have to be in amazing condition, no flaws, and also recent pieces, and that's about it. I do pass on a lot of good condition onesies just because they don't really need them and your payout will be like 10 cents or something. The reason I'm just skimming the top of the bins and not picking a spot and like really digging is because I'm trying to make my way over to the shoe bins. I just get distracted by everything, especially if there's just like a little kids piece on top because they're easy to grab. But don't worry, I finally made my way over to the shoe bins. So I think I actually found some decent shoes this day. I found that Clark's shoe, but I think it was a single, so I had to leave it. Then I pulled out this pair of Born boots that were still rubber banded together, so that was lucky. Born boots usually sell about $35 for me when they're a cute style and good condition. If they're tall boots, I've gotten like $50 for them, so I for sure pick up Born boots in the bins. These are little girl sandals that are new with tags, so I did pick those up for Once Upon a Child, and they are rotating hard goods, which got my hopes up. I was like, oh, if they're doing hard goods, are they going to do shoes soon? But they did not do shoes, and so I was pretty sure they weren't going to do shoes the rest of the night, but then literally like an hour before the bins closed, they did shoes, and that was lucky. Unfortunately, it was not a very good rotation, but I'm talking too far in advance. We'll get to that. We are just going through these shoes right now, and I don't know how long they've been sitting out. Usually what I've heard is they're fresh shoe bins in the morning and then they rotate them again in the afternoon, and I usually miss the afternoon rotation. I feel like I usually get there like a half hour after they did it. These are Walmart boys shoes, and I don't pick up a lot of Walmart shoes for Once Upon a Child. I try to avoid them, but those were just in such good condition that I did decide to grab them and give them a chance. I was looking at these UGG high top sneakers. They definitely have some discoloration around the edges, but I did throw them in my cart. Honestly, I can't remember if I brought those home or not. I did find this Teva mushy sandal, and it was definitely a clearance piece from DSW, and it was a single right there, but I do think I did end up finding the match, but I left them behind because they're probably really only worth about $15 in the right season, and it's winter right now. When I started shopping in the shoe bins, I didn't have high hopes, especially because the last few times shoes have not been that good in the bins, but then I found this pair of Free People sandals, and I can't believe they're white and so pristine. I think maybe they have like a tiny little scuff that will be easy for me to clean up. These Skechers kids shoes were a little too worn to take to Once Upon a Child, but back to the Free People sandals. When I found those, I was like, okay, maybe there's some good shoes in here. And, you know, I never write off the shoe bins completely, especially because I feel like I have a very good shoe brand knowledge. So I find a lot of things that I know have value that other people pass on. I did find this single Rothy. Now I took it out to check the interior tag for authenticity, and it was not there. So I was like, okay, are these fake? They felt real, but I don't think I've ever seen a pair of fake Rothys before. Also, they had that like crack on the bottom, but I decided to carry them around with me in case I found the mate, but I never did find the mate, so it doesn't matter whether it was authentic or not. I found that single kids Vans shoe. I do like picking up Vans for kids. They just don't sell for that much. I usually expect like $15-16. And here is another pair of Teva mushy sandals. So that is the third pair. If you guys caught that other pair, someone definitely donated their collection of Teva mushy sandals. Maybe actually if they were all the same size, I should have grabbed them and lotted them up, but I didn't even think about that. Okay, I slowed down the footage because do you see what I see right there? It is the Rothy's match right in front of me on the camera. I can't believe I missed that. That just goes to show that I thought I touched every single pair of shoes in the bin, and I totally missed the match to that potentially fake, potentially real Rothy's. But since I didn't find the match and couldn't, well, I mean, I didn't find the match and couldn't look them both over, we'll never know for sure if they were authentic or not. Leave your opinion down below though, since it was missing all the size information into your tag. Do you think someone ripped it off or was it authentic? I did find a single kids Bogs boot, so I threw that in the cart. I often find Bogs in the bins and I like selling them. The rain boots sell for me for about like $18, so I only pick them up sometimes. I liked this style of Euro soft shoe. It's a diffusion line by Soft, so I threw them in my cart. I don't remember if I bought them or not. They're not worth that much, but I threw them in my cart because I liked the style. I did end up finding the mate to my originally single Bogs rain boot, so that was exciting. And then I found these girls Melissa sandals, I guess flats actually. They had this little monkey thing stuck to them. I like selling Melissa shoes, both adult and women's. I think those are an older style. They're also a collab piece. I've noticed Melissa does a lot of collabs. And if you're unfamiliar with Melissa, they make jelly shoes. They're often fruity, cherry scented, and I think they're made in Brazil. I did find these Nautica sandals, so I grabbed them for Once Upon a Child, but of course I do have to make sure they have a size because Once Upon a Child, at least the location I go to, does not buy kids clothing or shoes without a size in it. And then I flipped them over and realized the size was on the bottom, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dumb. I just did all that work trying to look at the interior tag to just see the size on the bottom. Anyway, I did find this single kids Converse shoe, and it was in very good condition. Usually kids Converse are pretty beat up, so I think I threw that in my cart. Oh, I put it to the side. Sometimes I do that when I'm in a bin, especially if I'm the only one. I'll just set a shoe to the side to grab if I find the mate. I was unfamiliar with that shoe brand. It only had a logo on it, and I didn't care too much to look it up. These are Sam Edelman sandals, and I did pass on them because the strap was separating. We're out of season, and I just didn't feel like gluing that back together. Those shoes had a little Play-Doh sticker on there, so fun. Here is a kid's Croc shoe. I liked that one, so I also set that to the side to see if I came across the mate while I was looking through the bin. I did find a pair of Birkenstocks, and I always get so excited when I see Birkenstocks in the bins. However, as I was looking these ones over, I noticed some damage. That is very common with Birkenstocks, especially in the bins, because people love to wear their Birkenstocks out. I will pick up Birkenstocks with like minor damage, but as you can see here, these ones were kind of warped, like curved up, so I did decide to leave those ones behind. And as you can see, we're sifting through a lot of garbage here, but then I find a single dance coat, and it was $7 at Goodwill, and I totally would have bought that at Goodwill. Also, I found this brand that looked very interesting to me, and I did end up looking it up, and it's a pretty expensive brand, so I think I showed that closer. I found this single men's Vionic shoe,
and I think I found the mate, but I did end up throwing them back because I realized they were like sun faded. They're pretty discolored, so those had to go back, unfortunately. I was considering that Steve Madden platform sandal because, oh wait, look, there's the match to the Dansko shoe. Cool. So I did find those ones, which I'm happy with, but I think I did have another single Dansko this day that we'll see eventually. Anyway, I was considering the Steve Madden sandal because I've sold similar ones in the past for around $20. Here's a pair of Liverpool jeans just hanging out in the shoe bins. Not sure why they were there. This shoe looked interesting to me. As you can see, the tread is pretty worn down, but as I've stated in previous videos, when shoes have like a wide toe box, they're often barefoot shoes. That's like a stylish shoe that is sought after. So if that one had a match and maybe was in better condition, I probably would have looked it up to see if it was worth reselling. That was just a girl's sparkly flat. I threw in my cart if I found the mate to take to Once Upon a Child because it was in good condition. I don't know what those were, but I threw them to the side and I kind of wish I got a better look. Here is a pair of Monroe shoes. As I say, like in every video, every bins video, I often come across them. They are a very high retail, like close to 200, but I just can't sell them. When I do sell them, they sell for like $23, which is not bad if they sold quickly, but I'll sit on them for like 2 years to sell for $23, so I often pass on them these days. I know we've been in shoes for a while, but we are almost done and we will move on to clothing and textiles. Here is another pair of Melissa's. They are the exact same pair I found earlier, same collab and everything. They are just adult sizes, so that makes me wonder if someone had matching Mommy and Me shoes and they donated them together. Here is a blue Vans checkered slip-on shoe. I do pick up Vans. I'm somewhat selective with the ones I picked up. I did find the match, so I did end up buying those ones. Here are just a few more pairs of shoes I found. I found the match to that Vans shoe, and here is the single Clark's shoe going back. Here's the single Rothy's going back, but we now know it had a mate. That was a single Nike going back, a single Old Navy shoe going back, and then here's the brand I said that we'd go over. It is El Naturalista. So I'm glad I looked these up because the retail on these is close to $200. So for sure threw those in the cart. And we are done with shoes now. So now we are moving on to some clothing bins. This was the first clothing item I found for myself to resell. This is a kids item, so I won't be wholesaling this piece to anyone. I will just be selling it myself because it's probably like a $15 to $20 sale. And after I grabbed that piece, I left these bins afterwards because I wasn't really finding anything, and then they soon rotated them away, but I am glad that I found that one piece before they took these bins away. I also did find this Carter's Boys flannel for Once Upon a Child, just checking it over to make sure there's no flaws, so Once Upon a Child will buy it. Then I moved out of these bins since I wasn't really finding anything and went to a somewhat new rotation. I was excited to find these Abercrombie jeans, but then I realized they had more distressing than intended. When it is ripped down like that on the knee, that was not intended. That happened unintentionally, so I always leave those ones behind. Then I came across this pair of leggings from a brand I'd never heard of before. It had a bolt symbol on it, so I googled it, but didn't seem like it was worth resale. Here is a piece I found. I was unfamiliar with the brand. Lapin House, maybe? It was a girl's dress, and it seemed to me like it might be like a Shein dress, like a Chinese online boutique, but then I looked at the brand and it seemed to have some resale value, so I did end up picking that dress up for myself to sell. Here is a pair of BKE men's pants. I don't come across much BKE, so I haven't had much experience selling those brands. I have heard that the BKE men's pants can be bread and butter, so I did decide to pick these up and give them a try. I saw this sitting in a bin and I recognized it as a Savage X Fenty piece. Here is the brand tag. Unfortunately, this piece did not have a size in it. I did grab it anyway, and I have since listed it, and I had to estimate the size, so that might make it a slower sale, and it's not worth too much to begin with, just in like the teens, maybe $15, $16 sale. Here is a pair of kids overalls. I think they're Carter's again. So I was checking those over for Once Upon a Child and they seemed to be in good condition. So I did grab these. This style sweater is something I think Buy Sell Trade, Crossroads, Buffalo Exchange would buy for sure. But unfortunately it had some holes in it and I think maybe even some staining. So I did have to leave that. At this point they were rotating pretty frequently, but I was only finding kids clothes. So here is everybody going through the new rotation, and here are all the kids clothes I was finding, as you could tell by the bright vibrant colors and prints, which I'm not complaining because Once Upon a Child, at least I'm finding stuff that will make me money. I think I had to leave that torrid dress behind, but I don't remember why. These Cat and Jack jeans I couldn't take because they had too much fading to the knees, so Once Upon a Child won't take those. Here is an Under Armour piece, but it's an adult and not kids, so I had no interest in an Under Armour adults t-shirt. If it was kids, I would have grabbed it for Once Upon a Child. Here is a girl's dress. I think, it had some staining, so that's a pass. This is just what the bins were like. Pretty much all stained stuff, flaws, bad brands, stuff I couldn't bring home. And so the few pieces I was finding, like this Old Navy piece, is just a kid's item for Once Upon a Child, which I'll get like 80 cents, but at least I found stuff that will make me money at Once Upon a Child. I was super excited to find this cocktail rhinestone dress. It was from the brand Giovanni, which is a good formal wear brand to know. Here is the tag. Unfortunately, it was flawed, so had to leave that one. And guess who's back at the bins? It's the live streaming girl, as you can see in the corner over there. She is selling on, I'm assuming, Whatnot, but she was missing for like a month. But she's back now, live streaming at the bins. And here is the cart that I need to sort through. I'm assuming a decent amount of that went back because of flaws, but here are the only clothing pieces that I picked up that were worth reselling. Here is a North Face, some American Eagle jeans, an old but cute Zara piece, one Nuatex, J. Crew, some Bread and Butter, Abercrombie and Free People, and actually this Rachel Parcell dress had to go back because of flaws. At this point, it's like 5:30 and I was packing up to go since I wasn't finding a whole lot, but then they rotated hard goods and purses, and I was like, okay, I can stay for a purse rotation. I don't normally go through purses because I'm just not the biggest purse seller. This I thought looked like it could be Draper James, and I was correct. Draper James is Reese Witherspoon's brand, so grab that one. And then a Kate Spade was just sitting right there. So I thought it was interesting they did purses at the end of the night after the bins kind of cleared out, but that was nice because purse rotations can be crazy because a lot of people aren't actually interested in the purses themselves. People go through the purses to see if they can find like change or maybe gift cards. I found that Bagolini, so at this point, if I see a purse I'm interested in, I'm just grabbing it and continuing to dig through, and I will check condition later since it is a new rotation and a busy rotation. Here is a Betsy Johnson bag. I pulled this one out and was like, okay, immediately it looks in good condition, so I grabbed it. I felt pretty lucky to find a couple purses right in this first bin I looked through. Here's a Victoria's Secret tote. I used to pick these up. They're like, the free with spending $75 or whatever. I don't know if they really have resale value anymore. I don't usually pick them up. Occasionally, maybe if it's new at tags, but they're only worth about like 12 to 15. So I would recommend passing on most Victoria's Secret totes and free with purchase bags. Ooh, that girl found a crochet bag. Cute. This purse looked interesting to me, but it had no branding, so I did leave this one behind. And I thought this one might be a Baggu, but again, found no branding, so it was probably just an Amazon dupe. Here are all the purses I grabbed, and now it's time to sort through and make sure everything's in good condition. So this is a Bagolini. This one's probably worth like $20 to $25, and it was in good condition, so I did grab it. Here is the Reese Witherspoon bag and Draper James. It turned out to be new with tags, and I actually meant to look this one up because Draper James has done collabs with with FabFitFun, and I looked it up when I got home, and I do believe it was a FabFitFun box piece, but it looks like it consistently still sells between 15 or 20, so I probably will list it. The Kate Spade bag I found was in good shape, which was exciting. Here is the Betsy Johnson tote, and usually when I come across Betsy Johnson bags in the bins or regular Goodwills, they're usually pretty beat up, so I was happy that this one seems to have no obvious flaws. And Betsy Johnson bags are sold at TJ Maxx, so they're not worth a whole lot, but I will grab them to resell. This was a Nanette Lepore bag, again, probably like another TJ Maxx one, but I did grab it, and this is a vintage beaded bag. Those usually sell for me for about $20. Here is the Sack tote, and the Sack is known for making like crocheted bags. Goodwill had this priced at $13, which is why it ended up at the bins. Here is the brand tag. These are sold at like Nordstrom Rack, I believe, and maybe like Zappos. They're like okay, like, you know, if you're looking to spend like $50 on a bag type of purse. But honestly, to me, the quality is not that good, so I do have to check them over pretty closely. And even that one had a little bit of peeling, but I did grab it anyway. This was a Y2K mud like backpack. Goodwill wanted $13 for this one as well. LOL. And I just thought it was a fun piece to grab and try to sell as a Y2K piece. It'd probably do better in Depop, but I don't sell in there, so hopefully I can get it moving on Poshmark. I really don't know comps on that piece. And those are all the purses I found. After purses, they rotated shoes, which was exciting since the bins were pretty empty and the shoe rotation was less competitive. Those were the old shoe bins, and here they are bringing out the new shoe bins. Normally, the shoe rotation would be packed with people, but since it's like 6 o'clock and 1 hour away from close, the bins were not packed. I mean, they may look a little bit busy, but seriously, the shoe rotations can get crazy when they do it during the day. Here is what the bin in front of me was looking like. I spotted a pair of Vans, but nothing else that I really wanted to go for when they rotated. I found a pair of kids' Vans I grabbed, and here is a pair of kids' Crocs, but those ones had paint on them, so I did not pick those ones up. And as you can see, nothing else too exciting right in front of me where the bins got rotated. But the bins rotations clear out pretty fast, so I can walk around and find everything that people missed. Here I found a single Kuru shoe. I believe that's how you say it. I think it was a men's and it wasn't in the best condition, but I threw it in my cart and was like, okay, let's see if I can find the match. And I don't believe I ever came across the match. That is kind of the unfortunate thing about rotating bins late in the day, is someone else might have had the match, and if I left before them and threw it back, then they got it. There really weren't many shoes today in this rotation. I did find this single Dansko. It looks like it has never been worn, but again, I don't think I ever found the match. I had to fast forward a lot of footage and cut a lot of footage out because I just wasn't finding anything. Here is a pair of Cat and Jack sandals to take to Once Upon a Child. And actually the second cart I grabbed is looking relatively full, but I'd say there's only a few pairs in there that I'm going to take. These are a couple pair of shoes I passed on. I passed on these Uggs because they had wear to the calf hair, and these are an older pair of Jeffrey Campbell, and they just had so much fraying on these laces, so I didn't think the style was awesome, and I didn't think they were worth grabbing on top of that because of all the fraying. Here is a single Birkenstock, and I did grab it and throw it in my cart to see if I could find the mate, and I think I did, but I'm not 100% sure. And then I found these Allbirds. I believe they're men's. I grabbed them because they are the high top style, and I have not ever sold a high top pair of Allbirds before, so if they're not selling well, like the Wool Runners and Tree Runners, then if I can get them clean enough, I'll probably just take them to buy, sell, trade. And oh my gosh, my sweatshirt was looking so dingy dirty from leaning over the bins, especially the shoe bins. I found a pair of Kuru this time, and they were in good condition, so I did grab those. And here is another single Dansko. I don't know what it is today with the single Danskos, but I do know I did end up finding the mate to that Dansko boot, and I have never sold a pair of Dansko winter boots, so that will be interesting to see how those do this season. And then here is a pair of girls' Minnetonka fringe boots, and I actually have 2 pairs of these listed right now, so I did leave that pair behind because I didn't really want a third. I did grab these girls' Vans shoes, however, and then I went back through the purses once it had cleared out, and these are the few I found. I found this Joy Susan woven tote crossbody bag. Joy Susan does vegan leather bags. Here is a Hannah Anderson backpack. I did find another, but that one was just too beat, so I only grabbed this one. And then I found this Madewell bag. I have sold this one before, so this was a super easy listing for me to do, and I think I should get about $30 for this bag. Madewell bags do well, but that's not like the best style. And then I found this Betsy Johnson, which was dirty, but it actually cleaned up nicely, and I'm expecting around $20 for this bag. Here are some of the shoes I found. I found these Corral boots, and actually inside the boot someone put the box, and so that had the style and the retail on there, so I threw that back because now I have it in this clip for eternity, but that will make listing much easier. I found these men's Sanuk shoes. I do like picking up this style of men's Sanuk shoes, and here are my carts at the end of the day. Here is what had to go back: the single Dansko and the single Kuru. Last day at the bins. I checked out 15 minutes before close. Can you believe it? I didn't wait till close. Almost all kids' clothes and shoes, so gotta load the car up. I love my car, and I love that I got 0% interest. However, some days when I pack my trunk full, I wish that I had gone up a size instead of like a mid-sized SUV to like a freaking minivan. That would be great. Alrighty, car is jam-packed full of stuff. We're gonna go pick up from Once Upon a Child now, so we're gonna get to see the total for all 5 days selling at Once Upon a Child, but of course there was that one day where they weren't accepting buys, so technically it's my total for 4 days of selling with them. Okay guys, just picked up, and a great way to end the video. I got $102.10. That is the most I've made in this series, but I think potentially ever. So I did super well at Once Upon a Child. Man, if I could make $100 every single day selling Once Upon a Child, that'd be fantastic. They also took almost every single thing in the bin, which if the condition is good, I think they'll buy them if I bring them back. So great way to end the day. Super happy with that. Here's the total I made selling to Once Upon a Child this week. Again, this is pure profit to me because I take what I technically paid for these items and just put them in my cost of goods. So, if I get 20 kids things in a bins trip, I just take those out and then average out my cost of goods by the items I'm selling on Poshmark or that I was wholesaling. That is all for this video and this series. I hope you liked my journey on becoming a full-time resale wholesaler. And you know what? It was an experiment, and we came to the conclusion that it will not work out, especially with like literally the 5 resellable on Poshmark items I found today. Kind of crazy. Terrible day. Look, shoes, I did okay in shoes, but I can't wholesale shoes because of weight and cleaning. My takeaways from this series: 1, it's super hard on my body going to the bins every single day. 2, as much as I thought I'd like going to the bins every single day, I don't like the hour total I spend in the car driving out here. I don't like being away from Olive, my doggo. I just don't like that big chunk of my day spent sourcing. It makes it harder to, make dinner, go to the gym. Like, I'm gonna go home, eat dinner, take Olive on a walk, and then I'm gonna be pooped. So, lesson number 3. I can't find enough items to wholesale on a regular basis, which is good to know. Thank you every single one of you who was interested in purchasing a wholesale box from me. I'm sorry it didn't work out if it was something you were looking forward to, that I cannot find the amount of items I anticipated. And I, for some reason, did not film an outro. So this is the outro. Thank you for watching the series, especially if you watched every single video. Feel free to leave any comments, opinions down below in the comments. And we'll now be going back to regular scheduled programming, such as Goodwill hauls, still bins hauls and vlogs, and also some buy sell trade content. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see from me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.